This is one of my favorite topics because women, hormonally, it is far more complex than men. And the reason is women go through different stages in their life, right? So men and women both go through puberty, but women also go through menopause. And menopause is really the cessation or decreased production of particular hormones. And during menopause, a lot of things happen. So we know that after menopause, women are more likely to have heart attacks, more likely to have depression, more likely to have weight gain, more likely to have high blood pressure, all right, more likely to have Alzheimer's disease. In fact, the earlier the women have menopause, even before 40, the worse chance they have at actually developing Alzheimer's disease. So there's a very distinct relationship between hormones and brain and the body, the blood pressure, and everything like that too. So why is that? Let's talk about why is that and how that relates to the endocannabinoid system. Well, the reason that is after the reproductive years, when the hormones stop being produced, that's sort of a natural path of a woman's life, which doesn't really exist in men. Men, we have our hormones, we have testosterone, we have all these things. And men these days are actually experiencing menopause, which I'll explain to you what that is in a second. But both women and men during this time of mid-40s, early 50s, or sometimes late 50s can go through this hormonal transition. So let's talk about why. So when the hormones is decreasing, they're stopping to be produced, the body needs to be more sensitized for these smaller amounts of hormones for the body to function in a much higher state, right? And so the sensitivity of the body to the hormone depends on how many fat cells we have, our environmental toxicities, if we're smoking or not, and our diet. All these things contribute to hormone sensitivity when it comes to estrogen or progesterone or testosterone. And what happens is in 2019 nowadays, the standard American diet and the environmental toxicities allow the women to be resistant to the hormones even prior to menopause. And by the time they hit menopause, their hormones just deplete and they're in a really bad state, of mind. And we see this all the time. And a lot of times it's related to where the woman grew up in their childhood to develop these environmental toxicities. A lot of times related to diet, a lot of times related to sleep or sleep apnea, right? And so the endocannabinoid system is able to modulate this very thing in 3 different ways. Number one, there's an endocannabinoid, our endogenous endocannabinoid is called anandamide, and research has shown that anandamide levels correlate with our women's metabolism of estrogen, or specifically estradiol. And not only that, it also correlates with the woman's gut bacteria metabolism of estrogen. So yes, the gut bacteria in women can actually metabolize estrogen to get metabolized so they feel better, right? So long story short, we know that there's a very profound effect of the endocannabinoid system on hormone health. That's number one. Number two, the endocannabinoid system, because it's able to affect the brain neurotransmitters, make people feel better, de-stress, is able to help with body composition. Because of that, it indirectly impacts how women metabolize estrogen. And so that is an indirect factor of a beneficial effect that women can possibly get. Number three, the endocannabinoid system reduces inflammation in specific parts of the body that have to do with hormones. The endometrium, which is the lining of the uterus, right? And then there's also the ovaries, and there's also joints and muscle and tendon and eyes and brain. And so we know there's a huge anti-inflammatory effect. Not only that, there's also a pro-immune response where the immune system is able to gobble up the damaged cells that women have in their bodies so that the woman can be more sensitized to estrogen of those cells that are working properly. And so these are very new concepts for 2019, and these are literally things that was just discovered in 2017 and 2018. Really happy to share with you guys. And so it's not surprising that women are 17 times more responsive to cannabinoids than men are. And why? Well, women have more estrogen.